We've got Soulrift. This is a new darkness ultimate skill. So Necromancers kind of had three
Okay,
ultimates
this
already.
is ultimate
They had
skill.
one that was blood, one that was bone, and one that was related to summoning. And now we've kind of completed it, and we've added a darkness or shadow damage ultimate. Soulrift creates an area around your character, kind of follows with you, that just constantly deals damage over time. And it's going to be sucking out the souls of enemies who you're hitting. And every time it sucks out a soul from an enemy, you're going to gain some essence, and you're going to gain a barrier. So you can stack up this barrier. It helps you be survivable, and it deals, really good damage over time. Supreme Soul Rift gives you bonus damage for every soul that you absorb, and Prime Soul Rift causes the soul absorption to also apply vulnerable. Let's take a video of this in action here. Right, so enemies all coming up.
Super useful, Charles, right? Now that you have another way to give yourself defenses. Necro has historically had some trouble with
I think I already saw something similar.
Absolutely. I think that's a really important part here. And when we get to the next slide, talking about some of the passives, I'll highlight. We're adding a bit more barrier into the Necromancer's kit. Blood Necromancers always had a really easy time surviving. They had a lot of fortify and a lot of max health, and really the other ones like the bone and shadow necro didn't have quite as much survivability, and so now we're introducing more barrier in more places to ensure that kind of non-blood necromancer builds, the shadow and the bone and summon necros, have a bit more survivability and are able to scale into that late game pretty well. All right, so as I mentioned, the new passive. So they have a new key passive called Affliction. That there's this new concept of Affliction where applying vulnerable, crowd control, or shadow damage over time effects to enemies will apply them with Affliction, which is going to make them take increased damage from you and your minions. Additionally, when you apply a curse skill to someone or to an enemy who has this affliction, you're going to do a big chunk of shadow damage. So this kind of turns your curse skills, your Decrepify and Iron Maiden, into offensive skills. You can curse an area and then they take a big chunk of damage as well. And then this will scale up with the bonus damage that you've dealt, or the bonus affixes that you have for that crowd control, vulnerable, and shadow damage. And along that same theme, the new legendary Paragon node Frailty is going to cause cursed enemies to take more damage from you, and so it plays very nicely with the Affliction key passive. And once again, more skill tree passives to spend those extra points on. And I want to highlight Necrotic Fortitude here in the upper right that gives you it's just a generic passive that gives you a chance.
I'm not so excited with the Necro, honestly.
Really good
I was pretty excited with the Barbarian. The Druid is amazing.
Play into the more barrier focused on Necromancer.
Fresh meat.